Have you ever looked at someone with a face tattoo, a split tongue, or giant gauges in the ears and thought, how did we get here? Well, believe it or not, humans have been changing their bodies for thousands of years. In fact, body modification is actually older than written history. From ancient tattoos and ritual scarification to cosmetic surgery, implants, branding, tongue splitting, extreme piercings, and some of the craziest procedures ever attempted. We're going to talk about why people do it. So grab your snacks, maybe don't eat during a few sections, and let's jump in. Humans have always wanted to stand out. The oldest known tattooed person ever discovered was Otis the Iceman, whose frozen body was found in the Alps and dates way back more than 5,000 years. Researchers counted over 60 tattoos on his body. Interestingly, they weren't flashy artwork. Many scientists believe they may have served medicinal or therapeutic purposes because they were located near joints suffering from arthritis. Ancient Egyptians also practiced tattooing. Many female mummies show evidence of tattoo patterns that historians believe may have represented fertility, religion, or social status. Meanwhile, cultures around the Pacific Island perfected tattooing into an art form. The English word tattoo comes from the Polynesian word tatau. Imagine explaining to your parents 3,000 years ago that your tribal sleeve wasn't a phase. Not every culture used ink. Many African tribes and indigenous groups around the world practiced scarification. Instead of injecting pigment, deliberate cuts were made into the skin. As they healed, raised scars formed intricate patterns. These marks often represented adulthood, bravery, marriage, family lineage, or spiritual beliefs. To outsiders, it may seem painful. To participants, it often symbolized identity and belonging. And honestly, getting your driver's license seems pretty easy by comparison. Piercings have existed for thousands of years too. Ancient Egyptians associated certain piercings with royalty. Roman soldiers reportedly pierced their nipples as a symbol of masculinity and loyalty. Some cultures stretched earlobes dramatically using progressively larger jewelry. Today, gauges remain popular worldwide. Although yes, your grandmother is still going to ask if they hurt. Fast forward to the 1700s. European soldiers began returning home covered in Polynesian tattoos. Soon, tattoos became associated with adventure, naval service, rebellion, and eventually counterculture. By the late 20th century, they had exploded into mainstream popularity. Today, millions of people have tattoos ranging from tiny memorial pieces to full body suits. Professional athletes, actors, doctors, lawyers, and even teachers proudly wear ink. The stigma has slowly faded in many parts of the world, although somewhere, there's still one uncle insisting tattoos are why kids don't write thank you cards anymore. Body modification isn't limited to tattoos. Plastic surgery has become one of the most common forms of body alteration. Rhinoplasty, facelifts, breast augmentation, liposuction, jaw implants, hair implants, the list keeps going. Some procedures restore function after injury or illness. Others are purely cosmetic. The motivations vary widely. Some people seek confidence, some want symmetry, some simply enjoy changing their appearance. And some celebrities eventually start looking like they were rendered by artificial intelligence. Now we enter the territory that makes even tattoo artists raise an eyebrow. Extreme body modification includes tongue splitting, subdermal silicone implants, eyeball tattoos, magnet implants, pointed ears, corset piercings, transdermal anchors, horn implants, and intentionally branding using heated metal. Some enthusiasts describe their body as living art. Others view modification as a deeply personal form of expression. For many, it's no different than choosing a hairstyle or clothing. This is probably the biggest question: why people do it. Psychologists and sociologists have studied body modification extensively. Self-expression, identity, cultural tradition, personal empowerment, commemorating loved ones, reclaiming control after trauma, artistic appreciation, and sometimes people simply think it looks cool. Research consistently shows that there isn't one universal reason. Each person's motivation can be unique. Unfortunately, altering the body always carries risk. Poor sanitation can lead to severe bacterial infections. Unlicensed practitioners have caused permanent nerve damage. Improper tattoo ink has resulted in allergic reaction and chronic inflammation. Piercings may reject or migrate. Tongue piercings have chipped teeth and damaged gums. Subdermal implants may become infected or shift position. Perhaps one of the most controversial procedures is eyeball tattooing, also known as sclerostaining. Several documented cases have resulted in vision loss and serious eye injury after pigment was injected into the sclera. Medical organizations generally warn against the practice because of its potential dangers. Even cosmetic surgery can produce complications including blood clots, anesthesia reactions, infection, and unsatisfactory results requiring additional operations. Not every procedure happens in a professional clinic. Underground modification communities have existed for decades. Some individuals perform surgeries without medical license. Online tutorials have encouraged dangerous self-modification attempts. Doctors have treated patients suffering from severe infections, excessive bleeding, and tissue damage after attempting procedures at home. If YouTube has taught us anything, it's that just because someone uploaded a tutorial doesn't mean you should trust them. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube have dramatically increased visibility for body modification. Artists showcase incredible work. Collectors share healing journeys. Communities form around shared interest. But viral trends can also encourage impulsive decisions. A tattoo lasts much longer than your obsession with a TV show you binged over one weekend. Experts generally recommend taking time before making permanent changes. At the end of the day, body modification is one of humanity's oldest traditions. From prehistoric tattoos carved into frozen skin to cutting-edge cosmetic procedures performed with lasers and robotics, our desire to shape our appearance has never disappeared. For some, it's culture. For others, it's healing. For others, it's art. And for some people, it's because they looked in the mirror one morning and thought, you know what would really tie this outfit together? Tiny horns. Whether you love body modification or don't understand it at all, it tells a fascinating story about identity, history, and the lengths humans will go to express themselves. And honestly, considering some of the hairstyles from the 1980s, maybe tattoos weren't the weirdest ideal after all. If you've ever seen someone with completely black, blue, purple, or even green neon eyes, you've probably wondered, is that real? Is it safe? Can anyone get it done? The short answer is yes, it's real. The long answer? Well, it's also one of the riskiest body modifications ever created. Unlike traditional tattoos that place ink into your skin, scleral tattooing involves injecting pigment beneath the clear membrane that covers the white of your eye. A mistake measured in fractions of a millimeter can permanently damage vision, or even cost someone an eye. Let's talk about the biggest misconception. People often call these eyeball tattoos, but technically they're not tattooing the eyeball itself. The color part happens when pigment is injected under the conjunctiva, which is the thin transparent membrane covering the white portion of your eye, known as the sclera. Instead of using a tattoo machine, practitioners typically use a syringe fitted with a very fine needle. Tiny amounts of pigment are injected beneath that membrane. Once inside, the ink spreads naturally around the sclera, coloring the white of the eye. Gravity, blinking, and the eye's anatomy help distribute the pigment over hours or days. Depending on the pigment and healing, one eye may require several carefully placed injections. It's important to understand that this procedure is not recognized as a standard medical treatment. Ophthalmologists and major eye care organizations generally warn against cosmetic scleral tattooing because of the significant risk. People have been changing the appearance of eyes for centuries. Ancient civilizations used cosmetics around the eyes. Colored contact lenses arrived in the 20th century, but actually changing the white of the eye, that's surprisingly new. The first widely known cosmetic scleral tattoo was performed in 2007. Body modification artist Luna Cobra developed the modern technique after reading about medical procedures where pigment had been used on damaged eyes. Instead of tattooing directly onto the eyeball, Cobra experimented with placing tiny amounts of pigment beneath the conjunctiva. The pigment spread naturally across the sclera. Photos quickly spread online. Within a few years, body modification communities around the world were fascinated. Soon, people wanted black eyes, purple eyes, red eyes. Even UV reactive pigments were experimented with. Because the procedure spread largely through the body modification communities rather than medical institutions, there was never and nor are there any standardized training pathway or licensing system. That lack of regulation would become one of the biggest problems. Everyone has their own reasons. Some people simply love pushing body modification to its limits. Others feel that changing the whites of their eyes completes a heavily tattooed appearance. For horror fans, purple, black, or blood red eyes can create an unforgettable look. Some compare it to becoming a living piece of artwork. Others describe it as reclaiming ownership over their body. Like many extreme modifications, tongue splitting, scarification, implants, or ear pointing, it's often deeply personal. But unlike those procedures, your eyes aren't so forgiving. They don't regenerate the way skin does. This is where things become incredibly serious. The practitioner disinfects the eye and the surrounding area. A sterile syringe is filled with a very small amount of pigment and sterile saline. The eyelids are held open. The needle enters beneath the conjunctiva, but not into the eyeball itself. If everything goes perfectly, the pigment spreads beneath that membrane. Multiple injections may be needed to achieve full coverage. But here's the problem. There is almost no margin for error. If the needle goes too deep, it can puncture the globe of the eye. That can lead to retinal damage, eternal bleeding, severe infection, glaucoma, cataracts, retinal detachment, or permanent blindness. There are several well-documented cases where scleral tattooing resulted in devastating injuries. One of the most widely reported cases involved a woman in Canada in 2017. During the procedure, too much undiluted pigment was injected, and she experienced severe pain, persistent leakage of purple pigment, inflammation, and significant vision problems. She required emergency care and multiple surgeries to try to preserve her eye, and her case became an international warning about the dangers of the procedure. Doctors have also documented patients who developed serious infections after scleral tattooing. Some experienced chronic pain, others suffered permanent vision loss. There have also been reports of accidental globe perforation, where the needle penetrated deeper than intended. That type of injury can rapidly become a medical emergency and may require immediate surgery. Because these procedures are performed outside of regulated medical settings, outcomes can vary dramatically depending on the practitioner's experience, the materials used, and the individual's anatomy. Unlike laser tattoo removal, there is no reliable way to remove a scleral tattoo once it's in place. Lasers that are commonly used on skin are generally not considered safe for removing cosmetic scleral pigment because of the risk of damaging delicate eye structures. In some situations, surgeons have attempted to remove localized pigment or repair complications, but there is no established reversal procedure that can restore the eye to its original appearance. For many people, the color change is effectively permanent. That means if someone regrets it, they're likely living with it for life. This depends entirely on where you live. Several jurisdictions have moved to restrict or ban cosmetic scleral tattooing because of the risk. In the United States, there is no nationwide federal law specifically governing cosmetic scleral tattooing, but some states have enacted laws or regulated prohibiting or limiting the practice. Other areas rely on existing laws covering body art or the unauthorized practice of medicine. Many countries have no clear laws at all, leaving enforcement inconsistent. Even where it isn't explicitly illegal, finding someone willing and experienced enough to perform the procedure is increasingly difficult. Ophthalmologists have been remarkably consistent on the topic. Major eye care organizations advise against scleral tattooing because the procedure has no medical benefit and carries a potential for irreversible complications, including infection, chronic inflammation, retinal injury, glaucoma, vision loss, and loss of the eye itself. Unlike most cosmetic procedures, even a technically well-executed scleral tattoo still introduces material into one of the body's most delicate organs. That risk is why many eye specialists simply don't believe the cosmetic benefit outweighs the potential consequences. So, would you ever tattoo your eyeballs? For some people, it's the ultimate expression of body modification. For others, it's a fine line they would never cross. Whether you think it's beautiful, terrifying, or somewhere in between, one thing is certain: scleral tattooing remains one of the most extreme cosmetic procedures ever attempted. Unlike a tattoo on your arm, you can't simply cover it up. You can't reliably laser it away. And if something goes wrong, the consequences may last a lifetime. If you enjoyed learning about one of the world's most controversial body modifications, let me know down in the comments. Would you ever consider changing the color of your eyes permanently, or are colored contact lenses risky enough for you? Until next time, stay curious and stay safe. What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving headfirst into one of the most extreme tattoo trends on the planet: blackout tattoos. Imagine sitting in a tattoo chair while an artist fills your entire arm, leg, or even your chest solid black ink. Hours turn into days, and by the end, you've basically become your own silhouette. Some people think blackout tattoos are masterpieces, while others think you look like you lost a fight with a giant Sharpie. So where do they come from? Why do people get them? Are they dangerous? Can they be removed? And are they actually illegal anywhere? Grab your snacks and maybe keep your sleeves rolled down, because we're uncovering the fascinating history of blackout tattoos. A blackout tattoo is exactly what it sounds like. Instead of creating pictures or intricate line work, the artist packs an entire section of skin with solid black pigment until almost no natural skin tone remains visible. A lot of people will get entire sleeves, full legs, hands, neck, chest, back pieces, even nearly full body coverage. Some blackout tattoos are purely solid black, while others use black background to create negative space artwork where untouched skin forms geometric patterns, flowers, or symbols. Think of it as a reverse drawing. Instead of adding lines, you're carving the image out of darkness. Despite feeling like a modern social media trend, covering large areas of skin with dark pigment isn't entirely new. Many ancient cultures practiced a form of tattooing that emphasized heavy pigment or broad coverage, although today's modern blackout aesthetic developed much later. The style most people recognize today gained momentum during the late 20th and early 21st century, alongside experimental tattoo movements and large-scale black work. Artists inspired by tribal tradition, graphic design, and minimalist aesthetics began pushing tattooing into something closer to abstract art. Eventually, entire limbs covered in black became a recognizable style all on their own. Then Instagram happened. Suddenly, artists could post dramatic before and after transformations. One sleeve covered with dozens of old tattoos became one perfectly smooth black canvas. The images spread rapidly online. Within just a few years, blackout tattoos became one of the most recognizable modern tattoo styles in the world. People either loved them or commented, "Did your printer run out of ink?" There are several reasons why people get them. Covering old tattoos is probably the biggest one. Someone may have collected tattoos over 20 years and eventually decided none of them fit together anymore. Instead of spending years removing them with lasers, they chose to black everything out. Ironically, the biggest cover-up tattoo is literally just covering everything. Some people simply enjoy the bold minimalist look. To them, it's no different than choosing abstract art over realism. They appreciate the contrast and the dramatic appearance. Artists often leave untouched skin to create patterns. The results can resemble architecture, flowers, or optical illusions. From a distance, it may look solid black. Up close, it's incredibly detailed. For some individuals, blackout tattoos represent a fresh start. They symbolize moving beyond an earlier chapter in their life or reclaiming control over their appearance. Short answer, yes, very much. Tattooing already involves repeatedly placing pigment into the skin with needles. Now imagine doing that over thousands upon thousands of tiny punctures across an entire arm. Sessions commonly last several hours and often require multiple appointments. Many people report the final passes, where the artist feels stubborn lighter spots, are among the most uncomfortable parts. Think coloring an entire notebook page, except the notebook is your elbow. It all depends on the size. A forearm might require multiple long sessions. A full sleeve could take dozens of hours spread across several appointments, although some people have been known to sit through an entire session covering their whole arm. Large body projects can extend over months or even years. Healing time between sessions is essential because the skin needs adequate recovery before additional work. Professional artists typically use tattoo machines with groupings designed for packing pigment efficiently. Multiple passes are made to achieve consistent saturation. Aftercare is critical. When performed by trained professionals using sterile equipment and regulated inks, tattooing is generally considered safe, but it still carries risk. Because blackout tattoos involve large areas of heavily tattooed skin, healing can be physically demanding. Anyone considering one should discuss medical concerns with their healthcare professional if they have conditions that could affect healing. Technically, yes. Practically, that's another story. Laser tattoo removal works by breaking pigment into smaller particles so the body can gradually eliminate them. Large blackout tattoos often require numerous treatments and may never disappear completely. Some people instead choose to add white ink or designs overheal black areas, although results vary widely and often require experienced artists. Blackout tattoos themselves are generally legal in places where tattooing is legal. However, tattoo laws vary by county, state, province, and local jurisdiction. Age restrictions, licensing requirements, sanitation rules, and consent laws differ significantly around the world. There is no widespread law specifically banning blackout tattoos as a style. As tattooing continues evolving, black work has become part of mainstream body art. Artists now combine it with white ink, geometric designs, dot work, ornamental styles, negative space illustrations, abstract compositions. Technology and techniques continue improving, giving artists more creative possibilities than ever before. Whether you think blackout tattoos are stunning works of modern art or resemble someone accidentally falling into a bucket of paint, they've undeniably earned their place in tattoo history. They're bold, they're controversial, they're deeply personal expression of identity and transformation, and they're conversation starters. So here's today's question. Would you ever get a blackout tattoo, or is that a hard pass? Drop your answer in the comment below, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into body modification history, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and we'll see you in the next one. Imagine walking into a tattoo shop in Indiana in the 1980s. You pick out your design, the artist fires up the machine, and suddenly, everyone in the room could be technically breaking the law. That might sound unbelievable today, but for over 3 decades, tattooing was illegal in the Hoosier State. Not because tattoos were considered evil or the government hated bikers, and definitely not because someone got a regrettable tribal armband. Instead, the ban was rooted in one thing: fear of disease. Let's rewind time and go into the strangest chapters in tattoo history: the rise, fall, and eventually return of legal tattooing in Indiana. Long before Indiana even existed as a state, tattooing had been practiced around the world for thousands of years. By the late 1800s and early 1900s, tattooing had become increasingly popular in America. especially among sailors, soldiers, carnival workers, and traveling entertainers. Indiana wasn't isolated from these trends. Traveling tattoo artists occasionally worked fairs and carnivals throughout the Midwest, while military veterans returned home with tattoos earned during service overseas. But tattooing remained relatively uncommon and often carried a rough reputation. Many associated with criminals, outlaws, or people living outside conventional society. Everything changed during the middle of the 20th century. Medical science began learning about bloodborne illnesses. Do you know the one disease that absolutely terrified health officials? If you guessed hepatitis, you're correct. Unlike today, disposable needles and strict sterilization standards weren't universally used. Equipment was often reused. Sterilization practices varied dramatically from shop to shop. Health departments worried contaminated instruments could spread infection between customers. Throughout the United States, lawmakers began considering restrictions on tattooing. Some cities regulated it, others prohibited it entirely. Indiana chose one of the most aggressive approaches. In 1963, Indiana enacted a law effectively making tattooing illegal throughout the state. The reasoning centered on protecting public health and preventing the spread of hepatitis throughout improperly sterilized equipment. The law prohibited anyone from tattooing another person. Ironically, it wasn't illegal to have tattoos. It was the act of performing the tattoo that was outlawed. This created an unusual situation. People could cross state lines, get tattooed legally elsewhere, and then come home with fresh ink. Indiana couldn't stop that, but operating a tattoo business inside the borders became illegal. Almost overnight, legitimate tattoo shops disappeared, at least officially. As history repeatedly shows, banning something doesn't necessarily make it disappear. Instead, tattooing went underground. Some artists worked secretly from private homes. Others tattooed trusted clients through word of mouth. A few simply traveled between states where tattooing remained legal. Without regulation, however, customers often had no way to know whether equipment was properly sterilized or whether artists followed safe procedures. Ironically, critics argued that the ban actually increased health risk. Instead of encouraging licensed, inspected businesses, it pushed tattooing into hidden locations with little oversight. It's a bit like banning kitchens because someone once burned toast. While Indiana maintained its prohibition, tattoo culture across America transformed dramatically. During the 1970s and 80s, custom tattooing evolved into a respected art form. Artists developed unique styles. Conventions began attracting huge crowds. Celebrities, musicians, athletes, and actors proudly displayed their tattoos. By the 1990s, public opinion had shifted. People no longer viewed tattoos exclusively as symbols of rebellion. For many, they became deeply personal expressions of identity, memorials, artistic statements, or celebrations of family and culture. Indiana's law increasingly looked outdated. Residents questioned why neighboring states could regulate tattooing safely while Indiana banned it outright. Professional tattoo artists and supporters began lobbying lawmakers to modernize the law. Their argument wasn't simply, "We want tattoos." Instead, they focused on public safety. They argued licensed shops following sanitation rules would be safer than forcing customers into unregulated underground operations. Rather than pretending tattooing didn't exist, regulations could make it significantly safer. The debate gained momentum throughout the 1990s. Finally, after 34 years, Indiana repealed its statewide prohibition. In 1997, tattooing became legal again under new public health regulations. Instead of criminalizing artists, the state shifted towards sanitation requirements and oversight. County health departments gained authority to inspect facilities and enforce health standards. Tattoo studios could legally operate provided they complied with applicable regulations. For artists who spent years working in legal gray areas, it represented a monumental victory. For customers, it meant greater transparency and safer conditions. The legalization wasn't about banning health concerns. It was about recognizing advances in modern infection control. Disposable single-use needles became common. Autoclaves could sterilize reusable equipment. Universal precautions for blood-borne pathogens became standard. Gloves, disinfectants, and documented cleaning procedures greatly reduced risk. Rather than banning tattooing outright, lawmakers acknowledged the proper regulations was more effective. The philosophy shifted from prohibition to prevention. Today, Indiana has a thriving tattoo community. Cities like Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, South Bend, Evansville, and Bloomington are home to respected artists working in styles ranging from American traditional to Japanese, realism, black work, watercolor, fine line, and geometric designs. Professional studios typically follow strict sanitation procedures designed to protect both clients and artists. Tattooing has become mainstream. Doctors have tattoos, lawyers have tattoos, even teachers have tattoos, and your grandparents probably have tattoos as well. And yes, somewhere in Indiana, there's probably still someone explaining why they got a dolphin jumping over barbed wire in 1998. We salute their confidence. Indiana's tattoo ban highlights an important lesson. Sometimes laws created with good intention become outdated as technology and science improve. The original goal was protecting public health, but over time, experts increasingly believe regulations could accomplish that goal more effectively than prohibition. The state's experience mirrors broader changes across America, where tattooing evolved from fringe practice into a respected artistic profession. Today, millions of Americans proudly wear tattoos that commemorate loved ones, express creativity, or simply represent something meaningful. For Indiana, getting there required a 34-year detour through one of the country's most unusual tattoo laws. So the next time you walk into a clean, licensed tattoo studio in Indiana, remember, a few decades ago, that same business would have been illegal. The buzzing machines, the artwork on the wall, the artist behind the station, none of it could legally exist. Fortunately, history changed course, and today, instead of hiding in basements or back rooms, Indiana tattoo artists can practice their craft openly under health regulations designed to protect everyone involved.